Welcome to another edition of the channel's Mailbag. So what is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is the part of the channel that you guys actually control. It's based on comments, questions, general feedback that you guys leave either on the YouTube channel, the website, or through one of my social media feeds. Mailbag contains what I think the answer is, what I think my view of the comment is, or sometimes, I just throw it out to the wider audience and say, what do you guys think? That's what Mailbag is. So let's get in to the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. Next question comes from Nick Destruct. This is in response to the Roland JX-03 how to update the firmware video I did in December 2019. And Nick writes, sucks that it is not that simple on Windows. It recognises it as a drive after entering update mode but fails to copy due to device not recognised. Then the PCB beeps and the drive disappears. I notice it's not recognised in the device manager while in update mode. Very interesting comments. And thank you for the comments. Now, I have in the past performed an update from a Windows 10 machine. But as the video suggests, normally I do this using my Mac. It's just more efficient. That's how I see it. Yes, I know there is the Mac Windows debate. Which one should you use if you're running a studio? But I find for general music and for video editing, the Mac just seems to be more performant than my Windows 10 machine. And yes, my Windows 10 machine is getting on a little bit. It's not the latest and greatest spec, but then I don't need the latest and greatest spec because I've got a Mac. So, it's kind of trade-off there. So I personally haven't experienced the issues that you're saying. Now, maybe others can let me know if they are experiencing problems doing updates on the Roland Boutique stuff, specifically in this case the JX-03, with their Windows machines and having similar issues and how they solved it. Now, the only thing I will say is, are you sure that your antivirus and security settings are allowing the connection to the JX-03? I've seen that scupper things up. If you don't specifically allow it in the antivirus settings, whichever antivirus you're using, it sees it as a threat and then effectively shuts it down. So that could be what's going on here. I'm not saying it is, but that would be probably one of the areas I would look at to start with to see if you are allowing software from Roland to be executed on your machine, and that is in the security and your antivirus settings. I know specifically on the Mac, when you load the software onto the Mac to put it onto to allow the Mac to communicate with the device, if you don't go into the security settings within 30 minutes of loading the software is permanently quarantined on the Mac, and then you have to effectively unload it and start again. Next one comes from Lance in response to what do we know about the Behringer JT-16, an SMR I did in April 2025. And Lance writes, after seeing what a great job they did with the UB-Xa, I have a lot of confidence in their ability to deliver the JT-16. This will be great since there really isn't a Jupiter-inspired analog synth on the market that I know of other than the Black Corporation desktop, which is out of most people's budget. Now, I do own a Behringer UB-Xa. I've never owned the Oberheim instrument that it was copied off of. I'm going to use that word. But the Behringer instrument is based on. So I can't really comment on how close it is to the original Oberheim instrument. I can only go by what others have said and listening to classic tracks from the era when the Oberheim instrument was used by many. But what I do agree is that if they do the same job on the Behringer JT-16 as they've done on the UB-Xa, then I think this will be a must buy for many, especially if they keep it to sort of kind of £1,000 price tag, which is what they pitched the UB-Xa at. I went in, I bought mine at £899 and then donated 200 quid to the foundation because that's what Yuri wanted, and I thought it was worthwhile doing that. So there you go. I do think if they can, if they can do as good a job on the JT-16, people who've got the Behringer Wave have said it is such an awesome piece of kit, very, very close to the original, and of course you've got three wave machines now of that. You've got the original PPG, you've got the third wave, and you've got a Behringer Wave. You're going to pay a small fortune for the original PPG. The third wave, I think, is currently retailing in the UK for about £4,000, and the Behringer machine is about £1,000. So, choose which one you want. They both have pluses. They all have pluses. They all have minuses. But if you're just looking for a wavetable synth based on the PPG algorithms, the Behringer one seems to tick all the boxes.